Tonight, Minister of Education, Youth and Information announces that 100% of the 38,918 students who were eligible to sit the PEP exams this year have been placed in high schools.
I'm very happy to announce today that we had 39,689 students who were registered to sit the PEP 6 examinations this year.
Jamaica has recorded 2 new COVID-19 cases and 13 recoveries in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 686 and the total recoveries to 539. Still tonight, Earthquake Unit confirms that a magnitude 3.5 earthquake was felt in sections of the island this morning. And JPSKO says that the Saharan dust plume could have an impact on the reliability of power supply as well as on customers' usage.
Good evening. The Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Carl Samoda, has announced that 100% of the 38,918 students who are eligible to sit the primary exit profile PEP examinations this year have been placed in high schools.
100% of the students were placed in high schools. 16% of students were placed in secondary level schools that are in close proximity to the schools that they currently attend. 80%, or 31,017 of the students, were placed in one of their preferred schools. That's a very important consideration because that is the basis of a lot of the frustrations that attend this process each year. But I'm happy to say that 80% of all the students fell within their preferred and selected schools prior to taking the exam. A further 4%, or 1,606 students, were placed manually in secondary level schools in proximity to the addresses that they submitted at registration. 525 students, 1%, were placed in private schools this year. 38,393, or 99%, were placed in public schools. That is the construct of the distribution of our students. 1% private schools and 99% public schools.
Minister Samoda gave a breakdown of the tests that the assessments were comprised of.
I'm very happy to announce today that we had 39,689 students who were registered to sit the PEP 6 examinations this year. That's comprised of 20,157 males and 19,532 females. Of the 39,689 students, 38,918 were deemed to be eligible to move on to high school and were placed accordingly. The basis of the assessment comprised of the following tests. Grade 4 numeracy and literacy tests were done in 2018. We used that as the start of the process. That's where we began with the grade 4 numeracy and literacy tests that were done in 2018. We then also took into consideration in compiling these results the grade 5 performance test done in 2019 and the grade 6 ability tests that were done in February 2020.
Now our news team spoke with one very excited PEP 6 student, Jana Rance, who had this to say.
Today, before I heard the results of the school I was going to, I was so anxious I almost started crying. But after I heard the results and heard that I am going to Hampton, I was so excited. I started crying with tears of joy. From since I was in grade 2, I've heard about the school and set my mind that that is the school I am going to. And now here I am, and I'll be going on September morning to the school of my choice, Hampton.
Natoya Mitchell, mother of Jaina, shared her excitement with our news team while she congratulated her daughter and all the other students that got their results today.
Proud mommy of 2 kids going to high school. My daughter is going to Hampton High and my son is going to Manatee High. So I'm so proud of them. I was a bit nervous, but I know that they will do great. And I wish them all the best. And mommy loves you so much. And to all the kids that pass for the school of their choice or the school that they go to, I wish you guys all the best. And yes.
The Mello TV family would also like to congratulate all the PEP6 students. Still in news tonight, Jamaica recorded 2 new COVID-19 cases and 13 additional recoveries in the last 24 hours, taking the total of confirmed COVID-19 cases to 686 and total recoveries to 539. The 2 new cases are females aged 29 and 87 years with addresses in Kingston and St. Andrew. 1 case is imported from the United States while the other is a contact of a prior imported case. In news from St. James, the Western Regional Health Authority, WRHA, began community surveillance work in Norwood earlier today. This, the Ministry of Health and Wellness says, comes on the heels of confirmations of several positive COVID-19 cases said to be contacts of a confirmed case that recently returned to the island from the United States. Now, the ministry says that the Inex case has been isolated in a government facility. And so far, 13 close contacts have been tested, which resulted in 7 positives, 2 negatives, and 4 samples currently pending. Extensive surveillance work is currently being conducted by various health personnel, including nurses, public health inspectors, public health nurses, and community health aides. The team has begun house-to-house visits and assessments of residents for respiratory symptoms. Residents with symptoms and those whom the health team deems to be high risk will be tested for COVID-19 and quarantined as required. Still in St. James, the National Road Operating and Constructing Company has announced that the construction of the Montego Bay bypass has been pushed back to 2022 instead of next year. Managing Director Ivan Anderson says the delay is due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has reduced many budgets and has also affected the timing of the start of the project. The construction of the bypass will be conducted over a 36-month period, subject to environmental approval by NEPA. It will be a 15-kilometer toll road stretching from the Rose Hall Main Road to the Bogue Highway. The overall project will also include the Long Hill bypass as well as improvements to the Barnett Street and West Green areas of Montego Bay. It will be funded by the government of Jamaica at a cost of $220 million. Still making Mello TV news, the earthquake unit has confirmed that a magnitude 3.5 earthquake was felt in sections of the island this morning. The earthquake that was felt at approximately 8:29 a.m. had an epicenter of 15 kilometers southeast of Hellshire, St. Catherine, with a focal depth of 13.7 kilometers. The earthquake was felt in Portmore, St. Catherine. In other news tonight, the Transport Authority is cautioning that pronouncements made by lobby groups, Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators JATU and Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODS may not be representative of the sentiments of the PPV sector. The authority says there are 41 approved route taxi associations and another 24 recognized hackney carriage companies that represent over 25,000 licensees of the authority who render public transport services island-wide. Now, in comparison, these lobby groups, JATU and TODS, are comprised of civic-minded individuals, some of whom may not be directly involved in the provision of public transportation services. In other news tonight, The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPSKO, says that the Saharan dust plume could have an impact on the reliability of power supply as well as on customers' usage. In a statement released today, JPS's Vice President for Energy Delivery, Blaine Jarrett, explained that the settling of the dust on the power delivery infrastructure could lead to power outages. Jarrett further stated, and I quote, "The heavy dust represents an increase in contaminants on the system, which can result in short-circuit conditions, especially if we have light rain," end quote. He added that the company has been monitoring the situation and has intensified its maintenance activities to ensure limited disruption in power supply to customers. A second wave of the Saharan dust is currently making its way across the Eastern Caribbean and is expected to impact the island this weekend. In other news tonight, the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, has directed telecommunications providers to give their customers clearer information about their offerings and packages. The OUR has determined that, as a general rule, information provided to customers about packages and services shall include any limitations that may apply in the use of the service. This decision arose from an investigation conducted by the OUR following an increase in complaints from Flow and Digicel customers about unexpectedly high bills for post-paid subscribers and rapid credit depletion in the case of prepaid subscribers. The OUR says the mandate was issued to telecommunications providers on June 18, and they have between 4 to 18 months to implement the decision. Still making news, an official application has been filed on behalf of incarcerated dancehall artist Edisha Palmer, otherwise known as Vybz Kartel, and his 3 co-accused to get leave to go to the Privy Council with their case. Mello TV News has learned that the upcoming hearing is set to be presented before the local court of appeal next Monday via a video link. The legal team representing Mr. Palmer will now have to seek permission from the Court of Appeal in order to take the case overseas to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London, which is the final appellate court for Jamaica. All 3 convicts are serving mandatory life sentences for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Still making Mello TV news, the Justice Ministry says it has constructed, renovated and retrofitted justice facilities across the island at a cost of $1 billion between January 2019 and March 2020. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck, in his contribution to the 2020-2021 sectoral debate on Wednesday, said that a Victim Services Division VSD office was completed in Trelawney for approximately $31 million and a Justice Center in St. Elizabeth for just over $24 million. He says that the ministry spent $29 million to relocate the staff and operations of the Manchester Parish Court after fire decimated the facility late last year. Meanwhile, Mr. Chuck says that the ministry has secured and paid $184 million for land for the establishment of the Manchester Regional Judicial Complex. In addition, he says that the ministry is spending $626.4 million for a major renovation of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, at Public Building West. The project includes major demolition work, spatial reconfiguration, extensive masonry and tiling, and the upgrade of sanitary facilities. And those were the stories making news. I'll return with a recap. We'll now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.
Jamaica Weekly, the voice of Jamaica, is Jamaica's newest and most exciting full-colored tabloid newspaper, packed with news, sports, entertainment, and a whole lot more. Jamaica Weekly is free and is distributed every Thursday to businesses and consumers island-wide. Pick up your free copy of Jamaica Weekly today at major retail outlets near you, supermarkets, pharmacies, and service stations. For more information, call 876-616-3031. Jamaica Weekly. Pick up your free copy today.